Hello guys, welcome back to the lovely trading video. In this one we're going to be doing some stock analysis, and we're going to do it on the three biggest gappers up on today, which is August 18th. So that's Sgoc, VRPX and PMCB, and where we should be seeing these stocks go within the next few days or so. So we'll start off with Sgoc, as this is kind of the easiest one to analyze. And looking at a 4-hour 180-day chart and a yearly, so a daily chart, we can see that it's actually nowhere near oversold and could quite easily continue its run for the next few multiple days, to be honest. So obviously it started its bounce around $4.25, and we're currently up around 60% at around $6.75 as of right now. However, using statistical deviation channels, which are very accurate, 68% of the data stays within these orange bands or golden bands. And looking at this, we could quite easily head up to the 1127 area, at least on the 4-hour. However, you will see the end of today's move did happen when it came into today's, on the daily chart, statistical first deviation. So that's why the move ended today. But what most likely will happen, and it tends to happen, it will bounce off and come back to the mean, which in this case it's already come back to the mean on the 4-hour, but may come back to the mean on the daily, which would be around 525. It may come back to this value and then carry on its uptrend, and by that I mean break through at least our high today of around 823, and most likely break up to around this 1130 area to around 1068. Now this could be the end of the move. If we continue up, this could quite easily end right around this area here. However, as we come off such a big bounce, this is most likely just a dead cat bounce, so that may be the end of its move before then fading back down. But what could easily quite happen is just carry on. We will then have resistance levels at each of these statistical deviations for 1489, 1338, 1851, and on the very extreme end we got a $22 target and a 1609. Personally, I don't see it on this push going anywhere above this $16 level. I think even the $13 level is quite ambitious. I do think this $10 to $11 level, if we get up to there, that will be the end of the move. However, you can never know what's going to happen, especially with these smaller cap stocks. So for right now, we will most likely be putting back to this 525 level before continuing up. Actually, just looking at that, we did basically pull back to the statistical mean, so we will most likely not actually pull back any further, and will either two things happen: either we retest this $8 level, or we will most likely break through, and then we will go to test that $10 to $11 area. Or what will happen is it will probably come back up to this 8 no matter what, and fail down from here and come back down to this 525 level, and this time probably break through and return kind of back to its bounce level at around $4. So that's what we're seeing happening in the near future on Sgoc. Now we will go over VRPX, which we did actually do a analysis video on yesterday, and we did say if it goes to the upside we can't really do any targets because we have no statistical deviation targets. Right now we are extremely oversold, and when a stock's like this, I don't personally touch it because all sense is out the window. People are just trying to kind of follow the move, and are just more being greedy and trying to catch the move. So when it's something like this, it's hard to trade, at least in a non-risky way. So I personally would not be touching this stock until it comes back within our statistical deviation bands. So until it kind of drops down into this $14-15 level, I personally won't be able to give any analysis on it because we can't really dictate where it's going to go. It could quite easily just go and break that $40 because it's already broken this high. Why can't it go any higher? However, what we can give targets on is to the downside, and these could be bounce levels, or at least areas of support on the way down where it may struggle to get through. So what mostly happens as well with these deviations is you'll come into the fourth deviation, and we'll get a bounce in this area. We will then come into the third deviation and most likely get another bounce within this area. Again, we got more support lines here, and again we'll most likely come into these areas, and it hasn't updated on that side, but there we go, and get a bounce off this area. And then the final one where we most likely get a bounce is the first deviation, and we will most likely be getting a bounce in this area. That's the 760 to 725 area. Once we come through, which we most likely will in the next day, or probably this week, once we break through this 725, we will most likely just return to this statistical mean of around $5 to $4, and it will most likely just go off our scanners from then on. Lastly, PMCB. What does it look like it's going to happen? Also, actually, I want to quickly say on VRPX, there was some news on it. It got a letter back from the FDA, or a text back or an email, can't exactly remember, but something back from the FDA. It wasn't even an approval, so it's not even pushing off on like an FDA drug approval. It's just off a reply. Lastly, on then PMCB, this one again, we can't really give that great of targets. Yes, we do have targets to the upside, but as the stock only IPO'd this month, they're not going to be that accurate. So looking at statistical deviations, we do then have targets of 1027, 870, 714, 550A, 642, 838, 1032 again, and at the very high end 1230. However, just take into account when a stock hasn't been out for at least a year, the statistical deviations don't tend to hold up just as well because there isn't as much data and they're data based. Again, like I said, 68% of the data will be within these deviation bands, but if there's only 10 days of data, they're not going to be that accurate. So our targets either way though, on the high end will be the 1030s is most likely where we will see this end move. However, they could kind of squeeze out to this 1230, and that would most likely be the end of that move, at least off what we can predict. To the downside, kind of where we are now, we're hovering within these deviations, and you can actually see today they did hold up quite well, have been bounce levels throughout the day. But what will most likely happen is over time we'll start fading back down to more the statistical mean of around $4 to $4.50, and as there's not enough data, we can't really predict what's going to happen, but it'll probably just start staying within the $6 to $2.50 range. Very big range, but it's something I wouldn't trade when it's recently IPO'd. So hope you enjoyed the video, hope you see you in the next one, and that's it. Peace.